In this video, we listed the top 5 best gaming laptop in the market for this year. I made this list based on my personal opinion and I tried to list them based on their price, quality, durability and more. If you have any other gaming laptop recommendations that you think deserve to be in this list, you can leave a comment down below. Okay, so let's get started with the video. At number 5. We have the Acer Predator Helios 300. Acer's Predator Helios 300 offers an incredible value proposition, at just over $1,000, sometimes less if you can find it on sale. It offers a GTX 1066 GB graphics card that can lock down 60 FPS at near max settings in most games from the last few years. The system's lacking in any fancy screen features like a high refresh rate or G-Sync, and you'll probably want to think about investing in a large HDD to back up the 256 GB SSD. But those minor issues don't mean much when you factor in the super affordable price tag. The Acer Predator Helios 300 is the best budget gaming laptop you can buy. At number 4. We have the Asus ROG Strix GL503 vs DH74 Scar Edition. I said at the beginning that choosing a laptop usually means picking two between price, performance, and portability. Where thin and light laptops like the GS65 offer the latter two of those three, the Asus ROG Strix GL503 vs DH74 Scar Edition instead checks the first two boxes, price and performance. In exchange for a larger shell, the GL503 vs packs in a regular, non-Max-Q, GTX 1070 GPU. This results in a performance improvement of around 15% at a slightly lower price point. It uses a previous gen quad-core CPU, but that doesn't matter in most games. The GL503 vs also offers G-Sync on its 144Hz panel, but the trade-off means you miss out on NVIDIA's Optimus battery tech. As such, you shouldn't expect more than around 2 hours of battery life. Don't forget your charger. At number 3. We have the Gigabyte Aero 15X V8. Gigabyte Aero 15X was the first thin Max-Q laptop to catch my eye, and the 2018 Aero 15X V8 refresh remains a promising entry in the field, fixing most of the issues I had with its predecessor while keeping everything else that I love about it. Primarily, the keyboard works much better after a driver update, and the screen's been updated to a snappy 144Hz panel. Compared to MSI's GS65 and the Razer Blade 15, the Aero 15X has a less attractive body with sharp edges, but wins in the productivity category on account of a bigger 94 Wh battery. In practice, that is, our streaming video test, that larger battery lasts upwards of 6 hours, compared to the GS65's 4.5. With near identical internals, gaming performance is comparable to the GS65 as well. The biggest difference, other than the body design and battery, is that the Aero 15X can be outfitted with a 4K screen. I recommend sticking with the high refresh rate 1080p screen if gaming is your primary concern, but 4K is a nice option for productivity power users who can take advantage of the extra pixels. At number 2. We have the Razer Blade 15. With the new Blade 15, launched earlier this year, Razer has finally caught up to the competition in terms of what makes a great gaming laptop: solid construction, slim body, elegant design, long battery life, thin bezels, 144Hz screen, and internals powerful enough to play the latest games. That means an Intel Core i7-8750H processor paired with an NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1070 Max-Q GPU. What sets the Blade 15 apart from the competition is the details. Its aluminum body is the most solid and flex-resistant of all the laptops we've tested lately, and by a measure of about 0.5 mm, it's the thinnest as well. Of course, that 0.5 mm difference is mostly negligent in terms of perception. More impressive is the overall solid feel of the body, which Razer says is CNC milled from a single block of aluminum. Opening the clamshell, the touchpad is noticeably larger than its peers, and the keyboard is flanked on either side by large speakers. At number 1. We have the MSI GS65 Stealth N. The GS65 Stealth N delivers everything I want in a gaming laptop. It has the convenience and portability of a productivity notebook, light and thin enough that I can toss it in my backpack, tote it to meetings, and comfortably use it on the couch, married with the internal guts of a gaming PC, powerful enough to play the latest games at higher max settings once the workday is over. It has a sleek matte black aluminum body with gold accents that feels sturdy and looks, and thankfully lacking in obnoxious gamer aesthetics. Best of all, in addition to a slim, 18mm thickness, the screen's 4.9mm thin bezels allow for an overall chassis size that's about an inch smaller than most 15-inch laptops. Performance-wise, the GS65 doesn't disappoint. The base spec features a GTX 1060 Max-Q GPU, but I recommend the GTX 1070, again Max-Q, model for a few $100s more. It brings with it an upgraded SSD and killer wireless networking. This spec lets the GS65 maintain frame rates above 60 FPS in most of the latest games with settings maxed out, and by tweaking a few settings and disabling some of the more demanding, less visually impactful options, you can easily push your frame rates up to 100 FPS and above, taking advantage of the system's 144Hz display. There are other nice details, too: a keyboard from SteelSeries that's solid and responsive, an RGB LED, if you care about that sort of thing, a responsive touchpad, and a webcam that's placed at the top of the screen, thankfully avoiding the abysmally unflattering nose cam found on most thin-bezeled laptops like the Dell XPS 13. The only gaming feature missing here is G-Sync, but that's a forgivable offense as the omission allows for both the lower price tag and battery life that legitimately lasts through a whole day of email, web browsing, and streaming video.